Good morning, guys. Welcome back. So in the last session, so we started this batch on Saturday on which I gave a demo, guys. And then Monday we started with computer basics, some computer basics because most of my students will be from non-computers background. More than 50% will be from non-computers background, right? And then yesterday we discussed what is performance testing at a high level and what are the factors for doing PT for an existing application, already existing application. So today's session, we are going to discuss what are the reasons for doing performance testing for a newly developed application. And tomorrow I am going to cover what are the different types of performance testing, and we'll have a quick assessment once this is completed. I'll show you some graphs and ask you to identify what type of test does that best represents. What type of test does the graph best represents? Clear, guys? We'll do that exercise tomorrow. So today, let me complete this concept. So what are the reasons for doing performance testing for a newly developed application, newly built application, right? And yesterday we completed this part. These 6 or 7 data points are discussed, right? So before we start today's concepts, any queries on the previous day concepts, guys? Any queries on the concepts that we discussed yesterday? And one more thing, we will have an assessment after 1 week or 1 week or 2 weeks. We'll have. I will share you one online test for you, for everyone, those who confirm their joining. Okay. So those who missed the previous sessions, please go through all the previous sessions. I will share the playlist URL, guys. This is the September batch playlist URL. For every batch, we have a playlist URL. We create a playlist URL and add all the recorded sessions to that playlist URL. So this is the current batch playlist URL in which you have 3 videos, right? 3 videos, are 3 recorded sessions. So sorry, this is July 22 batch. Let me close that. Yes. So all the previous 3 sessions are uploaded to my YouTube channel as public videos. Okay. And now today, once the session is completed, I'll upload it in another after the half an hour after completing this today's session, I will upload it to the playlist URL. I'll add it to the playlist URL. Okay. So let me share the link for this playlist URL in the WhatsApp, in your WhatsApp group. I'll share it in the inquiries WhatsApp group also. Right? So this is the playlist URL for current batches. Right? Now let's go ahead and let us quickly discuss and close this. So what are the reasons for doing performance testing for a newly developed application? Okay. Suppose there is a newly developed application, and what are the reasons for doing? So yesterday we discussed that if it is an already existing application, we do performance testing whenever some new feature is added, or whenever there are more number of users accessing the application, or whenever there is a software upgrade or a hardware upgrade, or as an ongoing activity in regular sprint, isn't it? To find out if there are any performance issues, to find out any performance issues, and after fixing those issues also, we do performance testing. Now, suppose there is a newly developed application. So what are the major reasons for doing performance testing for a newly developed application, right? First and foremost one is assess readiness of production environment and determine the user load capacity of existing systems. System means application, nothing but application, right? Now, why should we do performance testing for a newly developed application? Assess readiness for production environment. Means how good it is to make it live or to push that application to production, right? And we already discussed what is meant by production environment. We already discussed that, isn't it? And everyone knows, I hope everyone knows what is meant by production environment by this time. So let's say if you are using irctc.co.in, this is the production environment. So production environment means nothing but live environment, which is accessible by the end users, isn't it? By the real world users. So Amazon, this is the production environment for Amazon application, isn't it? Now, so whenever a new application is developed, right? So before it goes into production, must and should performance testing will be done to make sure that it is ready for live, usage by the real world users, isn't it? And to determine the user load capacity, how many users can it support? right? To determine the user load capacity of the existing system or application also, we do performance testing, right? And next reason is compare performance characteristics with different system configurations. Compare the performance characteristics with different system configurations, right? There will be different software configurations, and we need to find out what is the with which setting we get, best performance from the application. What are the optimal settings for getting best performance from that application? To determine that, we also do performance testing and to support system tuning. And if you observe here, I'm using color coding here. These are the important reasons for doing performance testing for a newly developed application, guys. And of course, this one is also important. Creating benchmarks for future systems. These are also important. Equally important. Okay. Right. So support system tuning or application tuning. So what does that mean? Right? What is meant by application tuning, first of all? What is meant by application tuning, first of all? So application tuning means, let me open your class notes. And I'll share this class notes document to those who already confirmed their joining, right? I'll share this class notes documents also today, class note document also today, right? So what is meant by application tuning, right? So application tuning means, let's say, you found some performance issues on the application and you make your development team make some changes to the application to fix those performance issues. Okay, that is called as tuning. So let me give some real world analogy that everyone can easily correlate. Let's say you have a two-wheeler or a four-wheeler and you are not getting very good mileage or you are not getting very good pickup, right? And you go to the technician or you go to the mechanic and he will tune the engine, isn't it? To get better pickup or better mileage. Yes or no, guys?
Yes, sir.
He'll adjust the engine settings or he'll do whatever, he has to do to get a better performance from that vehicle, isn't it? So that is called as engine tuning, isn't it? He tunes the engine or he tunes the performance of that vehicle. So in the same way for application software applications also, we need to identify what are the best settings to get optimal performance from the application. Optimal performance from the application. Tuning or, adjusting system configuration to get optimal performance from the application. That is called as application tuning. Clear, guys? So to support, so in this process, whenever you are doing application tuning, right, we may need to do performance testing a number of times, right? That is another reason why we do performance testing for a newly developed application. And validate any application against its performance criteria. Validate any application against its performance criteria. What is meant by performance criteria? What is meant by performance criteria? Let's understand that. So, in software world or in IT applications, right, there will be certain performance criteria for each application. Let's say something like this. The application should support 1 lakh users and response time should be within the SLAs. There will be different performance criteria for different applications. So I'm just giving some examples, guys. Okay. So response time should be within 3 seconds, right? Something like this. This is another performance criteria. The application should support 1 lakh users. That can be another performance criteria. Or there can be some other performance criteria like the application should be able to process 20K transactions or 10K transactions per second. 10K transactions per second. Right? This can be another performance criteria for any application. Right? Again, let me give some examples, that you can easily relate with. So anyone having what is that? Royal Enfield bike, guys? Anyone having Enfield bike in this batch? No? Or most of you might have known that, right? So what is the pickup that it can achieve in 5 seconds or 3 seconds? Or what is the maximum speed that it can attain? Any idea, guys? Guys, please speak out.
120, 120 km/h.
120 kilometers per hour speed, right? And how much time does it take? Any idea how much time does it take to reach this speed?
Around 8 to 10 seconds.
8 to 10 seconds. Okay. So this is the performance criteria for that bike, which is having some 500 cc. How much cc it is? Huh? What is
350.
that?
450 cc.
350, bro.
350 or 450. Okay. Whatever it is. Okay. 350 or 450 cc. So this is the performance criteria for that vehicle, that bike, isn't it? This is the performance criteria. What is that? In 8 to 10 seconds, it should reach a, let's say, may not be exact, but in 8 to 10 seconds, it should reach a speed of 120 kilometers per hour. So this is the performance criteria for that bike, isn't it? So in the same way for software applications also, we do have some performance criteria. We'll have some performance criteria like this. It should support 1 lakh users, or it should response time should be less than 3 seconds, or it should be able to process 10,000 transactions per second. I'm just giving some examples. Now, to validate the application against the performance criteria, also we do performance testing. And how do we know that? Whether the application supports 1 lakh users or not? We have to do performance testing with 1 lakh users if you want to test that. Or how do we know that the response times are within 3 seconds? Is by doing performance testing. Or how do we know that the application can process 10,000 transactions? Is they will not directly use that application in production. First, they do functional testing, and performance testing, security testing, and all these, and then only that application will go into production. Now, is this point clear, guys? Validate any application against this performance criteria?
Sir, I have one doubt.
Yes.
This performance criteria may change according to the test we conduct, sir.
Yes. Performance criteria may change. That's what I said. I am just giving some examples.
Okay.
These are just some examples. Based on the application, it may change. Based on the test that you are performing, it may change. Yes. Right? Okay. And now the next reason for doing performance testing is creating benchmark for feature systems. Creating benchmark for feature systems. Now you have two concepts called, a very important interview question. What is the difference between baseline testing and benchmark testing? What is the difference between benchmark testing and baseline testing? Very important interview question. Okay. Now first let us understand what is meant by benchmark. Benchmark is nothing but initial performance of the application. Suppose an application is newly developed. Now, what is the initial performance of that application? That is testing that is called as benchmark, right? And whereas baseline is every application, will be subjected to some new features will be added, some bug fixes will be done, etc., etc. So application development is an ongoing process. We already discussed yesterday, isn't it? The application development is ongoing process, isn't it? We discussed WhatsApp example yesterday. What are the new features added recently? And all those. Please go through the yesterday's recorded session, those who missed that, right? To understand that. Now, application development is a continuous process. So it is a never-ending process, isn't it? Now, baseline testing means for every so this application development will be done in releases, in the form of releases. Okay. So for every release, let's say a new build will be deployed or released this week. For every release, we will consider one successful test as a baseline, and we'll compare that test in the next release. We'll compare the test results of this release with the next release test results. So that is called as baseline testing. We'll discuss this. We'll revisit this again, once we go to test executions and final report there you will discuss. Okay. When I explain, how do we prepare a high level report, detailed report, I will explain again these concepts, guys. But as we came across the context, understand what is benchmark testing. Benchmark testing is nothing but initial performance of an application. That is called as benchmark testing. Clear, guys? And now baseline testing is for every release we will consider, for every release we will consider one successful test as a baseline. One successful load test as a baseline. So that In the next release, developers might have added some new feature. And then again, we do testing and we will compare with the previous release baseline, because then only you will know that after adding those new features, is there any impact on the performance? Yes or no? Suppose, this release we will consider one test as a baseline and we will save the test results. In the next release, after developers added some new features or did some code changes or bug fixes, again we need to, we do performance testing and we need to determine whether if there is any improvement or, degradation of performance. So how do we know that? How can we measure that positive or negative impact is by comparing with the previous release baseline. When we compare with the previous release baseline, then we will understand whether there is any improvement in performance or performance degradation, isn't it? So that is the purpose of this baseline testing. Any queries, guys? Clear or any queries? Anyways, we will discuss this. It's a bit early to discuss this now at the moment, but as we came across the context, I had to discuss this, right? Now, the next one is compare the application performance on multiple platforms, right? So most of the applications will be running on Linux environment or Linux servers. Most of your software, let's say IRCTC or Amazon, right? All these applications will be running on Linux servers only. They will not use, Windows operating system for hosting these applications, for running these applications. And now in Linux, these are the different flavors of Linux. You have Red Hat Enterprise Linux, you have CentOS, Fedora, SUSE Linux. And guys, those who joined today, like please share your Gmail ID so that I will share the link to you. I'll share the today's recorded session to you. Okay. So maybe some people are disconnecting, maybe because, it's their office time. So please ping me your Gmail ID to me separately so that I can share this recorded session to you. Okay. If at all you want to disconnect or you want to watch the recorded session later. Right. So those who joined late, please ping me your Gmail ID and please save my WhatsApp number, guys. Otherwise, you will not get notifications on the demo sessions. Okay. So please save this WhatsApp number. Here is my WhatsApp number, guys. Please save this WhatsApp number. Then only you will receive our notifications, guys. Okay. Now, so coming back to this, to compare the application performance on multiple platforms. Now, what do you mean by multiple platforms is, as I said now, like most of these applications will be running on Linux environment and there are different flavors of Linux. In Linux, there are different flavors of Linux. You have Red Hat Enterprise Linux, you have SUSE Linux, Ubuntu Linux, right? Let me show you what are the different flavors of Linux. So you have Novel Linux, SUSE Linux, Ubuntu Linux, Red Hat Enterprise Linux, Debian, Fedora Linux, etc., etc. Now, suppose if client want to see on which platform we get better performance, then also we do performance testing on different platforms and find out on which platform is giving better performance. Clear, guys? Guys, is it clear? Are you able to follow?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. That is another reason for doing performance testing. So basically what we do, we host the application on different operating system or different platforms. And we try to find out which platform gives best performance of that application. Right? That is another reason for doing performance testing. Next one is uncover what components of an application suffer poor performance and under what conditions. So uncover, to find out what components of an application. So what is the meaning of a component? What is the general meaning of a component, guys?
Component is an item.
Part of something, a small part of something is called as a component, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes.
And now if you take any web application or any mobile application, it will have different components. And these are application architecture diagram for a web application, a typical web application. So what are the different components in this? As an end user, you will be using any of these browsers. And now these are the application components. Let me go to the slideshow mode, right? And now, any application, any web application will be having typically this architecture. It has something called load balancer. It has something called web server. and app server, application server, and database server. So these are the different components of an application. Clear, guys? Now, if there are any performance issues, it can be the issue can be because of web server, or issue can be because of load balancer, or issue can be because of application server or database server. There may be some slow running queries, database queries. That can be the issue. So if we are not getting best performance from the application, so there may be, there may be an issue with one of these components. To find out which component is causing that issue, performance issue, also we do performance testing. To find out or to uncover which component is causing that poor performance, right? For that also we do this performance testing. So that is all about this point. And under what conditions? Whether it is giving poor performance every time, or when there are more number of users, only when there are more number of users, isn't it? That's what it means, like under what conditions means. Clear, guys? And to find out any performance bottlenecks means nothing but issues, performance issues. If you want to find out any performance bottlenecks for any newly developed application also, we do this performance testing. So these are the different reasons for doing performance testing for a newly developed application. Right? I'll take a pause here. Now, any queries, guys?
Sir, we have any conditions to like number of servers we can configure while testing, or we have any limits on that one?
Ideally, your test environment, basically you will be doing this performance testing in the test environment. And ideally, it should be an exact replica of production. So production law, suppose there are 3 web servers in production and 4 application servers and 3 database servers in production. Your test environment also should be having same configuration, same number of servers.
Okay, sir.
And how many web servers we should have, how many app servers we should have, or how many DB instances we should have, that will be decided by the development architects. Based on the user load, based on the application, they will decide like how many servers they should have. Any other queries?
Yes, sir. No, sir, cleared.
Okay. All right, I'll stop. Yeah. And now let us discuss the application. Hold on 1 second, please.
Sorry to interrupt, sir. This 3-tier architecture that you showed, is it already covered in previous classes?
No, no, not yet covered. I'll cover that in tomorrow's session. Most probably I'll cover that in tomorrow's session.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Tomorrow's session, I'll try to cover it today. Okay. Next thing that we'll discuss is types of performance testing. We'll discuss what are the different types of performance testing. And then in the next session, tomorrow or day after tomorrow's session, I'll explain this architecture. Okay. Now let us move on to any queries, guys, before we move to the next concept. The next concept that I want to discuss is what are the different types of performance testing. Okay. So these are the different types of performance testing. So you see this logo in my WhatsApp group as well, on my YouTube channel as well, right? The same logo. So these are the different types of testing. One is load testing. The first and foremost is load testing. And then endurance testing. The second one is endurance testing. And then volume testing, scalability, spike testing, stress testing. So these are the important types of performance testing. Now, does every application require all these types of testing? No. Nothing to worry. You need not do all types of testing for any application. Okay. Based on the application, based on the requirement, we have to decide like what type of testing does that application require, right? Now let us discuss these type of testing one by one. The first and foremost one is load testing. Before doing any other type of testing, first we do something called load testing. And load testing is something which we do with expected or normal user load on the application for 1 to 2 hours duration. So load testing is something which we do with expected or normal user load for 1 to 2 hours, right? And then the next type of testing, is it clear, guys? And we'll discuss that. I will elaborate that in the next test. In the next session, we will discuss in detail. But let me introduce what are the different types of testing, and on what basis you will decide like which testing is required for which application. So the next type of testing is soak or endurance test. So this is nothing but long duration test. The second important type of testing is soak or endurance test, which is long duration test. Okay. And now how long it is, it will depend on the business hours of the application. It depends on the duration, depends on business hours of the application. And please understand that every type of performance testing has a specific purpose. There is a specific purpose for each type of performance testing. Okay, what is the specific purpose of those? We'll discuss that in the next session. And now the next type of testing is stress testing. So if you observe here, I have highlighted this load testing and soak testing in a different color because, these two tests are mandatory for any application, whether it is any web application or mobile application. These two performance test types are mandatory. So before coming to performance testing, of course, they will do functional testing, unit testing first. Unit testing will be done by developers, and then functional testing, say integration testing will be done by the testing team or the developers again, right? And then functional testing will be done, and then performance testing will be done. So in performance test types, these are the two mandatory tests, load testing and soak testing, right? And then based on the requirement, we have couple of other performance test types also called as stress testing and spike testing. Now first let us discuss what is stress testing. So what is the general meaning of stress, guys?
More pressure,
More pressure,
doing multiple things.
expected, right? So stress testing here means testing the application with more than normal load on the application. Testing the application with more than normal load on the application, right? And now why should we test with more than normal load? Let's say, for example, if we have a travel application like IRCTC or Redbus or APSRTC or something, right? IRCTC example, let's take IRCTC example. So whenever there is a festival or a vacation, there will be more number of users who will be accessing the application, right? Who will be trying to book a ticket, right? Or who will be searching for ticket availability, right? Whenever there is a festival or a vacation, yes or no, guys?
Yes, sir.
Right.
More number of
There will be more than normal load on that application, isn't it? So those kind of applications require stress testing also. In addition to load testing and soak testing, those kind of applications require stress testing also, right? Or whenever if you take any e-commerce application like Amazon or Flipkart, so whenever there is a festival, like the sales will be more, right? There will be more number of users who will be searching for some products or placing order on the product, isn't it?
yes.
Right? So those kind of applications require stress testing also, in addition to load testing and soak testing. Clear, guys? And now the next type of testing is spike testing. So what is this spike? What is the meaning of a spike? What is the general meaning of a spike, guys?
Sudden increase.
Sudden increment.
Right, a sudden increase, right? Or a sharp increase, isn't it? Spike is nothing but a sharp increase or a sudden increase,
Point.
isn't it? A sharp increase in the magnitude, right?
It's
Now,
a cone-like structure.
yes. Yeah, I gave some examples also here. Observe here. So normally, whenever a Tatkal window opens for IRCTC, all of a sudden there will be more number of users who will be trying to book the ticket, right, in the Tatkal quota.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Everyone will be ready before their systems for 2 or 3 minutes before or 5 minutes before, isn't it? Before the Tatkal window opens. And as soon as Tatkal window opens, everyone will start accessing the application, search for trains availability and enter the passenger details and then make payment, right? There will be more number of users during that time, right? Whenever, as soon as the Tatkal window opens at 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock, isn't it, guys? Or whenever there is a flash sale or big billion sale on Flipkart or Amazon kind of e-commerce applications, then also you will have more number of users, right? And they will be, everyone will be simultaneously will be trying to log in or will be trying to access the application simultaneously, isn't it? Yes or no, guys?
Yes, sir.
That will be available for a limited time, isn't it? So there will be more number of users. There will be a sudden increase in the number of users. And those kind of applications require spike testing also. In addition to this load testing, soak testing, stress testing, those kind of applications require spike testing also. Is it clear, guys, why we have different types of performance testing? Right? And not all applications require performance testing. All these types of testing. Every application doesn't require all these types of testing. Make sense?
Already in production.
Yeah. Yes, already, whether it is already in production or newly developed, right? Every application doesn't require to do this all types of testing, isn't it?
Yes, depending on the requirement.
Right. Depending on the requirement, depending on the type of application type, we decide like what type of testing does it require. And the next type of testing is volume testing and scalability testing and failure testing and capacity planning. So these are few more performance test types. I'll cover tomorrow, guys. I'll stop it here for today. Okay. So I'll take a pause here. So we'll continue tomorrow. I'll cover what is volume testing, scalability testing, and failure testing, capacity planning. And we'll discuss one more time. We will discuss what is the objective of doing this each type of testing. And we'll discuss elaborately in tomorrow's session. And we'll have a quick assessment also in tomorrow's session. Now I'll take a pause here. Any queries? So we'll dedicate the last 5 to 10 minutes for doubt clarification, right? And from tomorrow onwards, we will have, before I start the session, right? I'll ask you we'll have some quick assessment for the first 5 to 10 minutes. So that is to accommodate late joiners as well as to have regular assessment. Okay. So I'm pausing the recording, and thanks for watching. Those who are watching this session on my YouTube channel, thanks for watching. And if you want to enroll for the live training, so please contact on this WhatsApp number. Okay, and do subscribe and turn on all notifications. If you already took training or if you're already working on performance testing, and if you want to receive some free trainings, for example, recently we started one free training on MongoDB performance testing. MongoDB performance testing, it should be somewhere over here on my YouTube channel. And yeah, here it is, guys. MongoDB performance testing free video training series. And then BlazeMeter performance testing. So we are occasionally doing some free trainings and Linux for software test engineers. I have already uploaded 2 sessions wherein I am going to cover all the Linux concepts and Linux commands that are required for software test engineers. Not only performance test engineers, but every software test engineer or even developers should know some basic commands. So I am conducting one. I am uploading. I'm making some video series on that and uploading to my YouTube channel. Clear, guys? So subscribe and turn on all notifications, so that you will receive updates on this free training series or free demo sessions. Thanks for joining and have a nice day.
Build up and we'll get that Naukri calls.
No, mock interviews and all, that is part of placement assistance. That would be there, for those who opted for placement assistance. So we are providing placement assistance for the experienced guys as well as freshers. We have tie-ups with around 10 QA companies, right? And we are providing placement assistance for those guys. Okay. So the mock interview, resume preparation, all those will be done for those who opted for only placement assistance. So these are the part of placement assistance things.
These are not part of the
Not
training.
for everyone, not for everyone. We cannot prepare CV for everyone, or we cannot provide mock interviews for everyone. Mock interviews, yes, I can do that. If you are okay to upload to my YouTube channel, I can do that for everyone, anyone. All right. But this placement assistance, we have, apart from training, regular training, we are providing on-job training. That means real-time training on real-time projects and resume preparation. We are providing on-job training in the sense, we will onboard you, those who are opting for placement assistance, we are onboarding you and you will get a hands-on training on real-time projects and including this PF account and all this. And then we'll prepare a CV and then 3 to 4 real-time projects training, right? So this is all about on-job training.
This is totally different from training, sir.
Yes.
Placement assistance.
Placement assistance is different from this regular training. Yes.
Okay. Then
And
how much you are charging for
earn
this
while
one?
you learn, earn while you learn. Yes.
How much you are charging for this one, sir?
Placement assistance we'll discuss offline. So okay, I can reveal it. So it is 1 month salary. The charge for that is 1 month salary for that.
Okay, after getting placement, sir.
After getting placement. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So with this, I'll stop it here.
So this will be happening only weekends, the placement assistance.
Right now we are for the next 1 month it will be only weekends because I'm working now. So next
Okay.
I will be relieved in the next 1 month. Thereafter it will be daily. We'll plan it daily.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Sir, this will be offline now, sir.
That
Placement.
yes, that can be online also, but we prefer to have offline. Offline, if you attend offline, if you can attend offline, you will get 100% access to all the servers, and you can get hands-on experience on end-to-end testing life cycle, performance
Okay.
testing life cycle.
Whole process of performance testing.
Correct. All right, guys. Thank you one more time. Thanks once again, and I'm passing the recording, guys.